You know, when we talk about the future of work, it's easy to picture this big showdown, humans versus machines. But what if that's not the story at all? What if it's a story of collaboration? Well, that's the story we're going to tell today. And it all starts with a guy who is just about to hit his breaking point.
So let's meet our main character. This is Ryan. He's a really talented engineer, super dedicated to his job. And I'm willing to bet that if you've ever felt just completely swamped by your work, you're going to see a little bit of yourself in his story.
So, Ryan's an IT engineer, and to put it simply, he was just completely and utterly exhausted. His job felt less like actual engineering and more like he was constantly running around a battlefield just trying to put out one fire after another.
If you want to know why, just take a look at his daily reality. Can you imagine facing over 200 support tickets every single day?
And the worst part? So many of them were the exact same problems, just repeating over and over and over again. It was this endless cycle of really frustrating, repetitive work. And on top of all that, everything felt like a crisis. There was no quiet time, no room to breathe or think. Just this constant state of high alert, high stress, emergency mode.
So in those rare, quiet moments, Ryan would find himself asking this one question. He really started to doubt himself, wondering, is the problem me? Am I just not good enough for this job anymore?
But here's the thing, and this is so important. Ryan wasn't slow. The problem wasn't his skill or how much he cared. The problem was that he was human. And we humans, well, we just can't operate 24/7 at the speed of machines. It's just not possible.
And that brings us to a really pivotal moment in our story. Picture this, a cold night in late 2025. This is the night when everything was about to change for Ryan.
He was just getting ready to log off for the day when he heard it. That sound. That piercing, awful sound that every IT engineer dreads. Alerts just started exploding across all his dashboards. A massive, system-wide failure was happening right now.
And you can just feel the exhaustion in these words. His heart just sank. I mean, this was the kind of crisis that completely destroys your weekend, drains every ounce of energy you have, and it was happening all over again.
But just as he was bracing himself for another long, miserable night, something different happened. A new window popped up on his screen, something he had never, ever seen before. Honestly, he almost just dismissed it as another annoying pop-up.
Yeah, he almost closed it, but for some reason he didn't. And that one little decision introduced him to some very unusual new teammates. Let's go ahead and meet them.
Okay, so 3 little icons appeared. First up, you've got Scout. Think of Scout as the monitoring agent, designed to see everything happening across the whole system. Then there's Brain, the reasoning agent, who's built for finding patterns and getting to the real root of a problem. And finally, you have Fixer, the automation agent, who's ready to jump in and execute the repairs. Ryan's reaction? Well, to put it mildly, he was skeptical. I mean, an entire enterprise outage, and these 3 little icons are going to fix it? Right. He kind of just stepped back and decided to watch. Not with any hope, really, but with a heavy dose of doubt. But what happened next was something Ryan absolutely could not have imagined. While all these alarms were blaring and the dashboards were flashing bright red, the AI agents just calmly activated and got straight to work.
Just think about the contrast here for a second. Ryan's usual playbook would be hours of panicked phone calls, waking people up, and just blindly troubleshooting, hoping to get lucky. The AI crew? They acted instantly with this calm, calculated precision.
So Scout immediately pinpointed the failing nodes, and then Brain, the reasoning agent, just chewed through terabytes of historical data in an instant and delivered its diagnosis. It wasn't guessing, it had analyzed every past event, found a clear pattern, and recommended a super-specific solution with a high degree of confidence.
Fixer requested authorization. Ryan, still a bit stunned, just clicked Approve. The patch was deployed, and just like that, the errors vanished. The system recovered. The entire crisis, a crisis that would have taken Ryan and his team hours of stressful work, was diagnosed and completely solved in, get this, just 45 seconds.
So Ryan just stood there, totally frozen. And in that moment of shock, he went through this whole wave of emotions that led to a really powerful realization about what the future could look like. And his very first thought? It was fear. It's a fear a lot of us have, right? If AI can do my job this well and this fast, then what am I even here for? Are they here to replace me?
But then, the agents responded, and they clarified their purpose. They weren't there to replace him, they were there to collaborate. They weren't there to take his job, but to accelerate his work. You see, their actions were still guided by his decisions.
And this, right here, this is the core lesson of the whole story. The AI wasn't there to replace Ryan the engineer. It was there to replace the stress, the burnout, the repetitive tasks, the 3 a.m. panic attacks. It was there to handle the parts of the job that are, frankly, inhuman.
So this leads to a whole new way of dividing up the work. The AI agents, they handle the robotic, data-heavy stuff, analyzing mountains of logs, monitoring systems 24/7, fixing all those predictable errors. And this frees up the human experts, people just like Ryan, to focus on what we do best, designing incredible system architecture, driving real innovation, and solving those complex, creative problems that machines just can't touch.
And that brings us to the end of our story. For the first time in years, Ryan actually felt hopeful. He realized the future isn't some competition between humans or AI. The future is humans with AI agents, working side by side. It's a collaboration to build a better, less stressful, and way more innovative world for all of us.